Like to call to order the August meeting of the New Bern Board of Adjustment. Greg, would you call the roll, please?
Yes. Kenneth Paragoy.
Here.
Steve Strickland.
Here.
Dorothea White.
Here.
Alfred Barfield is excused. Trip Ewell.
Here.
Kenneth Brown.
Here.
John Riggs.
Here.
Richard Parsons.
Here.
Lois Jamison is absent. Edward Bellis.
Here.
Ross Beebe.
Here.
John Merrill.
Here.
We have a quorum.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is the minutes of our July 30th, 2018 meeting. Hope you've all had a chance to review those. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes of that meeting?
I move to approve the minutes as submitted.
Second.
Okay, we had a motion and a second. Any further discussion? If not, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. As we begin tonight's hearings, I'd like to take a minute to explain to everyone in the audience the process that we will undertake so that you'll feel comfortable with the process as it unfolds this evening. The Board of Adjustments is a quasi-judicial board. Consequently, everyone who wishes to speak at tonight's hearing must be sworn in before speaking. The second important aspect of being a quasi-judicial board is that we may only consider substantial and material evidence, facts, in our decision-making process. We cannot accept hearsay, opinions, or emotions. The first step in the hearing process is for the application for the special use permit to be presented to this board by the city staff, and there will be a period provided for public comment about the application. Following the public comment period, the board will begin to solicit facts concerning 6 requirements specified by law. After each of the 6 requirements, there will be a public comment period where evidence will be presented to the board. After all 6 items have been presented, evidence heard, and closing comments made, the board will deliberate and vote on each of the requirements one at a time. Following the voting, the board will vote whether to approve or deny the application. Those that would like to speak to the board this evening about either of the applications we'll be dealing with, please come forward to the lectern to be sworn in. Do you swear that the evidence you shall give to the board in this action shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, so help you God? Thank you. New business this evening. The first item on the agenda is consideration of a special use permit request to allow a bed and breakfast at 411 George Street. Property is located in the R8 residential district and further identified as Craven County Parcel Identification Number 8-008-9000. Greg, would you introduce this application to the board?
Yes. Chair Paragoy, members of the Board of Adjustment. This is an application for a special use permit submitted by Ms. Chrissy Frazier. The property is located at 411 George Street. It is further identified in Craven County as 8-008-9000. This parcel or property sits on 0.16 acres. The project went before our Department Review Committee on July 13th. Included in your packet are the comments from the different departments, and the applicant has addressed those comments. Adjacent property owners within 100 feet were notified. The property was posted. According to Section 15-146 of the Land Use Ordinance, a special use permit is required to operate a bed and breakfast in the R8 residential district. Staff finds that the application is complete. Staff recommends approval of the application. The application is in line with Section 15-54 of the land use ordinance. If the board has any questions, I'll be more than happy to address them.
Thank you. At this time, if the applicant would like to speak to the board and introduce the reason for your application, we'd be glad to hear from you.
I don't have to say too much, right?
No.
I've been running an Airbnb for 2 years now. I moved to New Bern to do this. I bought the property, and I've done significant improvements on the property. I've gone before the board to get permits for the betterment of the property, front and back. And currently, I'm a super host on Airbnb, and I have a 4.9 star rating. Do you have any questions for me?
Board, any questions, Ms. Fraser? Thank you very much. At this time, I'd like to open public comments about the application. If anyone would like to speak in generalities about the application, they may do so at this time. Anyone that would care to speak in favor of the application, please come forward. Okay. Anyone opposed to the application have an opportunity to speak. Seeing no one and hearing nothing, we will close the public comment period at this time about the application itself. We'll now begin the 6-step process required by law for approval of a special use permit. Requirement number 1, the requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Yes, it is. As I stated earlier, the table of permissible uses is Section 15-146, and in order to operate a bed and breakfast in the R8 historic district, a special use permit is required.
Any questions from the board? Okay, I'd like to have anyone that would like to speak in favor about item number 1 come forward. Anyone opposed or comments about item number 1? I'd like to have a motion to close the public hearing portion of item number 1.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requirement number 2, the application is complete.
Yes, the applicant went before our department review on July 13th. She has addressed all the questions. She has met the requirements of the application for a special use permit. The application is in line with Section 15-54 of the land use ordinance.
Again, public comments are welcome at this time. Anyone in favor of the permit, item number 2, may step forward. Or likewise, anyone opposed to it may come forward and make comment at this time. Hearing or seeing no one, entertain a motion to close the public comment period on requirement number 2.
So moved.
Second. Have a motion and second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requirement number 3, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all the requirements of this ordinance. Is there anyone like to come forward in this public comment period about item number 3?
With compliance,
Yes, as I stated earlier, the applicant, Ms. Frazier, is here, and she has met with our department review committee, and the application will be in compliance, and the project will be in compliance with the city of New Bern. And I believe she's in agreement with that.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Well, thank you. Anyone opposed or has opposition to the completion of the project and being in compliance with the ordinances? If not, I entertain a motion to close public comment on requirement number 3.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Requirement number 4. The use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted. Open public comments regarding this requirement.
I would absolutely put no one in danger. And, go ahead.
And as Ms. Frazier, she attended our department review. Part of that committee is the fire department and the police department, and they approved the project. And she will be in compliance and will not endanger.
Anyone opposed? Requirement number 4. Entertain a motion to close the public comment period on requirement number 4.
So moved. Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Requirement number 5. The use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity. Anyone like to comment on item number 5?
The property is zoned under R8, and according to the ordinance, a B&B is allowed with a special use permit.
Okay, item number 5 is talking about adjoining property values.
Okay, well, the value of my property has gone up, sir, in 2 years.
Okay. Anyone else would like to comment favorably or unfavorably about the fact that the project would have effect on adjoining property values? Seeing no one, I'd entertain a motion to close the public comment period on item number 5.
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion, a second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. And requirement number 6, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
Yes, sir.
That's a good
Yes,
answer.
everyone.
Okay. Would anyone like to speak in opposition? Seeing no one approach the lectern, I entertain a motion to close public comments on requirement number 6.
So moved.
Second.
The motion second. Any further discussion? All in favor of closing public comment on number 6, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Now is time for the board to discuss each of those same 6 motions and name any questions the board may have of the applicant or of staff, the appropriate time to get that done, in which case we will also be voting on each of the 6 requirements. Okay, go back through this process one more time. Requirement number 1, the requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses. Comments, questions from the board?
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion that the requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. Any additional conversation? Okay, this is a roll call vote. Greg?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 2, the application is complete. Any questions from the board or staff? If not,
If there are no questions, I'll make a motion that the application submitted is complete.
Second.
have a motion and a second that the application is complete. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 3, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all the requirements of this ordinance. Board questions, discussion?
If there are no questions, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all of the requirements of this ordinance.
Is that a motion?
That was a motion.
Okay.
Second.
Have a motion and a second.
May I get that second, please?
Trip. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Moving on to requirement number 4. The use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted. Questions from the board? Comments?
If there are no further questions, I would make a motion that as, based on the information presented, the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 5. The use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity. Discussion amongst the board? Questions? Entertain a motion?
If there are no questions, I make the motion that based on the information provided and the testimony provided, the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property and that the use, or that the use is a public necessity.
Second.
Have a motion and a second. A roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 6. The location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city. Questions, discussion amongst the board?
Hearing no questions, I move that we find that based on the information submitted, that the location and character of the use is developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
Roll call. Brown made the second.
Yes.
Second.
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay, we've been through the process and we have approved affirmatively all the 6 requirements for the special use permit. Is there a motion to approve the special use permit?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the special use permit. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Are there any conditions that the city would like to suggest to add to this special use permit?
Yes, staff recommends that, and it's a requirement from the land use ordinance, that the applicant shall provide on-site or satellite parking for each room rented. I discussed this condition with the applicant, and she is in agreement with that.
Okay. We need a motion to accept and approve the conditions from the city to this special use permit.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Passes.
Okay. Ms. Frazier, we got a special use permit. You don't have to sit through this. The second item of new business this evening is consideration of a special use permit request to allow outside storage at 4112 Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The site is located in the C3 Commercial District and further identified as Craven County Parcel Identification Number, 8-211-017, -1000 and 1001. Greg, would you like to introduce this request?
Yes. The applicant is requesting a special use permit to have outdoor storage at 4112 Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard. The property is further identified as Craven County Parcel Identification Numbers 8-211-017-1000-1001. The property consists of 13.1 acres, and the parcel that will be affected, and hold on, let me just put it up. Sits on 8.59 acres. The project went before our department review July 27th. The applicant has addressed all the comments. He has revised the plans, and staff finds that the application is in compliance with Section 15-54 of the Land Use Ordinance. If the board has any questions, I'll be more than happy to address them. In the audience, we have Mr. Steve Jankowski with Rivers and Associates, and he is representing the project, and he'll be more than happy to address questions and just focus on the project. Okay? Done. Steve?
Again, my name is Steve Janowski with Rivers and Associates. I represent Americo, which is the developer, owner of the project. Currently, right now, there's a kind of mini group of buildings on there. What we're doing is putting a 3-story building on there for climate control. That building becomes an office. And then what we'd like to do is, with the special uses for us, to put a canopy storage so that we can park RVs and boats under that area. It's a secured area. And you can see there's angle parking. Basically, you just run through a serpentine pattern, and there's an automatic gate to get in and out of that particular facility. It's typically a solid base, and then it has about 3 inches of like a loose gravel on top of that in that particular area, and that's what it consists of. The site is we've added vegetation around the perimeter of the site. We're leaving existing vegetation on the rear of the site.
Currently, there's mobile homes.
Yeah, it is currently on the left-hand side of it. It's mobile home sales, or on the south side, mobile home sales. And there's several offices right now. Some of the renovations are beginning, just to begin to prepare that for you all.
Okay. Any questions for Mr. Jankowski? From the board? Okay. Seeing an absence of people in the audience, I think we'll forego, if the board is in agreement, we'll forego the public comment period for general comments about the project.
I'm in favor.
You're okay. So we got that in favor, and the owner is in favor also. Okay. Is that acceptable, Greg?
Yes, we can just have a motion to close the public.
So moved. Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to close public comment. All in favor, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Public comment period is now closed. We'll begin the 6-step process where we will have evidence presented to us about each of the individual requirements of the special use permit. Okay, item number 1, the requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Yes, it is. According to Section 15-146 of the Land Use Ordinance, the use code for this is 10.220. A special use permit is required to have outdoor storage in the C3 commercial district.
Okay. Would you like to make a comment, Steve? Okay. Can we move on to item number 2 without public comment, or?
Yes.
Okay. And
Well,
at the end of 6, we'll close public comment.
Okay.
On that parcel. Okay. Requirement number 2, the application is complete.
Yes, the application is complete. The applicant has met with staff. He has answered all the questions, submitted more than enough information to make us feel comfortable. The application is in line with Section 15-54 of the Land Use Ordinance.
Okay. Requirement number 3, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all the requirements of this ordinance.
Yes.
Okay. Moving on to requirement number 4. The use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted.
It will not endanger the public safety.
Any comments or questions from the board? Okay. Requirement number 5, the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity.
It will add value from status that it is right now with the actual development.
Questions? Okay, moving on to requirement number 6. The location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
Yes.
Any questions? Greg, I have a question for you. This is in the Martin Luther King corridor,
Yes.
and that was taken into consideration for
Yes.
materials and all that stuff?
Yes, sir. That is section 15-466 of the land use ordinance. The applicant has reviewed that section. Staff approved his submitted plan. The corridor requirements, one of the things you might be referring to is the exterior, and the applicant has submitted a plan that will be accepted by the city. He meets all of those requirements for that overlay district.
Okay. Okay, we talked about the 6 requirements, and we've given opportunity for people to speak. I entertain a motion to close public comment.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion, second. Further discussion? If not, everyone in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Public comment period is closed. Okay. Board will now go back through the 6 requirements and vote on each one of them individually. The requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Yes, according to section 15-146 of the land use ordinance, a special use permit is required for outdoor storage in the C3 commercial district.
Okay, is there a motion to approve requirements of number 1?
If there's no questions or discussion from the board, make a motion that based on the information provided, the requested permit is within the jurisdiction according to the table of permissible uses.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Any further discussion? Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Moving on to requirement number 2, the application is complete. Any questions from the board or staff?
Yes, the application is complete. It is in line with section 15-54 of the land use ordinance.
Entertain a motion.
I move that the application is complete.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Requirement number 3, if completed as proposed in the application, the development will comply with all the requirements of this ordinance. Discussion, questions?
Hearing no questions, I move that we find, based on the information submitted, that this development will comply with the requirements of this ordinance.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Ewell,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 4, the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted. Discussion, questions from the board?
Question, is there adequate lighting surrounding the location?
I'll let the applicant, and before he speaks, part of our department review process, the electric department is there, and the applicant can get in touch with our department. And I believe you might be on Progress out there. Progress? Right.
Progress is the power company.
Okay.
And the way that facility is set up, the lighting is all building lighting and canopy lighting that comes around. So around every perimeter, if you look at the plan, you'll see that there's perimeter lighting there around the facility. So yes, there'd be adequate amount of lighting there.
Thank you.
Any additional questions?
If there are no further questions, I would make a motion that based on the information and testimony provided, the use will not materially endanger the public health or safety if located where proposed and developed according to the plan as submitted.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 5, the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that it is a public necessity. Board discussion, questions?
If there are no discussion or questions, I make a motion that based on the information provided, the use will not substantially reduce the value of adjoining or abutting property, or that the use is a public necessity.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Requirement number 6, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city. Board questions, concerns, comments?
I noticed that on the perimeter, which is a lighting perimeter, there is, how's it termed? There's building there where people are occupying that place. Is there a means of protecting the light from going there and interfering with the sleeping nature of that adjacent personal property?
Steve Janowski, as a part of the site plan approval process, we kept a pretty mature strip of existing vegetation that backs up all along that property. And then we added another screening buffer behind that piece also. So I feel like that in the lighting back there will be low in nature around the perimeter, so it won't be sitting above those trees.
Thank you.
Any further comments or questions from the board?
If there are no further comments or questions, I make a motion that based on the information provided, the location and character of the use, if developed according to the plan as submitted and approved, will be in harmony with the area in which it is to be located and in general conformity with the plan of development of the city.
Second.
Trip.
We have a motion and a second. Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes.
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
And we've been through the 6 requirements for a special use permit and have voted affirmatively on each of those 6 items. So I would entertain a motion to approve the special use permit.
So moved.
Second.
You want to see if the city got any conditions?
We'll do that after.
Oh, okay.
We have a motion to approve the special use permit, And we have a second. Any further discussions? Roll call?
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Okay. Are there additional conditions that the staff would like to include in the special use permit?
Yes. The condition is the applicant shall provide a 5-foot wide ADA compliant sidewalk adjacent to Dr. Martin Luther King Boulevard. This is in line with our pedestrian plan that was submitted. I spoke to the applicant and he is in agreement with this condition.
Mr. Jaskowitz, would you like to comment?
I'm in agreement.
Okay. So we have a condition of the addition of a 5-foot wide sidewalk along Martin Luther King.
That's correct.
Any discussion, questions from the board? Entertain a motion to approve the conditions as added to add to the special use permit.
So moved.
All right, that. Which one?
Second.
Richard?
I'll be the second.
Or who's the first then?
Yes.
Okay.
Bellis. So we have a motion and a second to approve conditions from the staff to the special use permit. Have a roll call on that.
Kip Paragoy,
Yes?
Ross Beebe,
Yes.
Steve Strickland,
Yes.
Kenneth Brown,
Yes.
Trip Yule,
Yes.
Dorothea White,
Yes.
John Merrill,
Yes.
Richard Parsons,
Yes.
John Riggs,
Yes.
Edward Bellis.
Yes.
Motion passes.
Special use permit is granted with condition. Good to see you. Okay. Is there any other business that would like to come before the board? Any members of the board have things they would like to bring up? If not, I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
A motion for what? We didn't say what the motion was. A motion to adjourn, right? Yeah. We have a motion and a second to adjourn. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed?
You're outnumbered.